the hardest time that you never thought it's useful for your life, for me, it was useful. And that's what I like to see people. And they are loving. They love people. They support, they care about people. Although the circumstance was very challenging, but I was not a victim. I I overcame it. Yes, I was put into that situation, but I fight and I overcome and come out on the other side.
Hi, Sarah, and welcome to the podcast. I am very glad to have you with me today. I know we have talked about having you come in and share some of the wonderful wisdom that you've gained. I know you train and you speak and you've trained youth and done all kinds of wonderful things. But I always love for my listeners to understand who they're listening to. So, would you take me to your background and so they understand truly why you have the wisdom and the knowledge that you do?
Oh, sure. My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
A little bit about my background. I grew up in Cambodia as a small child. I admired my parents, and they grew me to keep going in school. So they appreciate education. So with that in mind, as soon as I graduated from high school, I went to college. College is not nearby the house, not nearby, not in a city. So I had to go far away in the capital city. So that means I'm far away from my loved one, from my mom, my dad, and my brother. So only a few months into college, something very bad happened to my country when the communist regime took over our country. They they came over in the military takeover. So they invade the country, they invade this capital city, make very drastic change. So they came in a military style. And I was just so shocked to see all that. And immediately they shut down the country. That means there's nothing open. My school is no longer operating, and no supermarket, no post office, nothing open. And immediately they start to go door to door to demand people to get out. They they evacuate us. They don't want anybody to live in the city anymore. We didn't know all that. So I was in a hurry, grab a few things that I can and walk with the big crowd. I had my uncle with me at that time. He had his wife and two small children. So we walked in the hot day on the street, very crowded. We barely make a move because it's just so crowded.
Mm.
And we sleep on the ground because there's no place to sleep. And we eat only the leftover food that we carry from home. And then once that food is gone, it's gone. Then we cannot go and buy any food anymore. There's nothing to buy, there's nothing to sell. We were miserable. And we end up, well, after a long walk, we end up in a small village far away. And then they make an announcement that if anybody want to move to Battambang, which is my hometown, I was so excited. I said, me, I want to go. I signed up. I couldn't write fast enough. I put my name down on the paper. And my uncle saw that, and he feel an obligation that he need to accommodate me. He need to go with me. So he convinced his wife and bring two children to go along with me. So they transport us on the boat, on the train, and the truck, and then they drop us in the middle of nowhere. Middle of nowhere. They, I was expecting to go to my city, but it didn't happen. Was so disappointed, and we stayed at that place for a while, and then there was another announcement. They want some single people to sign up to go to get trained. I was in the mood. I want to keep moving. I want to do something to get close to my hometown. So this time I signed up again, but because this project is for single people, my uncle cannot go with me anymore. So I I left my uncle's family. I end up in the labor camp, a forced labor camp. There were 1,000 of us in this camp, and they put us to work right away. Their work is indescribable. It's we work in the rice field. They work us 15, 16 hours a day with no time to rest and very little food to eat. And we have only about a few hours of sleep every night. So with that condition, many of us start to get sick. And because our immune system, our body is getting so weak, once somebody got sick, we pass on to other people. So we very quickly all over become very sick. But even though we got sick, we had to go to work, because if we don't work, we don't get that food that they distribute to all the workers. So we force ourselves, no matter how sick we were, we have to go to work in order to receive food on a daily basis. So I keep pushing myself until one day I can't move and can't go anymore. So when that happened, they put us in a place. They said, "Oh, you need to go to the hospital." Let me tell you about that hospital. It's not a hospital. It's a place where the sick people stay and then wait until whether you get well or you're going to die. So what is the chance of us getting well if there's not much to help us to get well? So many people die in that place. When I saw that happen, I realized I need to do something to get out from here, because my goal is to stay alive so I can go back home to help out my family. So I was thinking about what can I do to help myself from this dangerous place. I cannot really run away because I was so sick, and I cannot go back to work because I can't work. I'm so sick. So what are the options? There's nothing, no option. So I decide I start to pray, because that's the only thing I can do. I pray at night. I have to be careful to not letting anybody know that I'm praying. They are not, they don't believe in anything. So I pray at night. I ask God. All I thought about is that there must be God. And I have some belief at my younger age that I believe that there is God. So that's my only hope. I pray, God, please, please help me, Lord. Help me. I want to live. So that's all I can pray. I don't know what to say, but I just by God to help me. So praying every night, and then one morning when I got up very early in the morning, I start to look around and I see it's quiet. I got up very early, like 4 a.m. I said, okay, I start to walk out. I sneak out from there. I went back to the direction of where the working people are staying. So I'm so grateful. I met this one young team leader. She know me before, and when she saw me come in, she kind of grabbed me and said, "Oh, where are you going? Let me help you find something to do. In this camp, you have to do something. If you don't, you cannot do something, you have to go into that hospital. That's so the quote hospital. But she tried to help me to do some job for her, and she realized I'm so sick, and she said, "Hold on, wait, let me go to the kitchen and talk to the people at the kitchen." So she did. She went and she talked to them that, she want to know if she can send me to help them out in the kitchen. And they say yes. So thank goodness. Thank goodness. Oh, so I thought, oh, God answer my prayer. That's all I thought. He know exactly where I need to be. Yes, that's the best place for me at the moment. And I work there and I get access to food, to work in the shade and to work less hour and sleep better. So gradually I felt better and better. So I realized that I will survive. Not so fast. Don't be too happy. Once the leaders saw me look better, feel better, they pull me out from the kitchen, throw me back into the rice field. So I endure 4 long years, 4 horrible years. I was sick many times. I was sent to that so-called hospital a few times. I sneak out a few times. But all in all, after 4 years, there was something going on. The camp got moved. They start to tell us to pack up and let's move. They move us. Where do they move us? They move us closer to the jungle, get into more and more and more into deeper and deeper into the jungle. And when I realized that, I said, oh no, I don't want to keep going with them because I would not find my family in the jungle. I remember original idea. I joined this group because I want to move. I want to keep moving. So hopefully get closer to my family. So I have an idea. I don't want to go to the jungle. I want to escape. So I talked to 3 of my good friends. They have been so good to me. When I was sick, they helped me out. When I was blind, I became blind at one point because when you don't have enough nutrition, you become blind at night. There is a name for it. So you cannot see anything at night. Like my friend helped me. So now when I want to escape, I talk to my friend. All 3 of them, they said they will go with me. Wow. And I feel more confident because I can't do it myself because I'm so frail. I lost all my weight. I'm so skinny, like just a skin and bone. I didn't get to describe all my disease. It's boring. It's a lot of pain, a lot of serious illness. But that's what made me so skinny. So my friend said, yes, we'll go with you. So I gained confidence and knowing that I'm now going out by myself in the jungle. So we make plan that we wait until nighttime and we will try to backtrack a path where we came from. That's what we plan because we don't have a map, we don't have a cell phone or GPS or anything like that. So it's in the jungle and it's dark, it's black, you cannot see anything. So we wait until nighttime and then we start to move to make sure that the guard, the one that hold the gun, don't see us. And we were successful. We walked through the jungle through the night, and in the morning when we got up, when the sun rose, and we look at each other's face and we smile and we realize that we are free. We are free, and we keep walking. And we were so happy that we are free. And then after we walked a while, we saw some people walking. And we wonder why these people are so free, why we were in captivity. We don't know. We have we don't know what to do, who to ask. So we just keep walking, and then ask for direction to go to my hometown. And then finally, after a long walk, we arrived in my hometown. And I went straight to where my house used to be and was so disappointed. My house was gone. They destroyed our house. And I looked around, I couldn't find my family. And I asked people around there, it's all new people. People are moving all different direction and all new people. Nobody know my family, but after I thought a while, I thought about my aunt who used to be a nurse before the war. So I realized, oh, maybe she's working at the hospital. So I went to the hospital. Sure, I found her. I found her at the hospital, and she told me where my parents lives. And she said, tell my daughter to take you there. That's my cousin. So I went to her home, and my cousin took me to my parents' house. When I got to my parents' house, I saw my mom, but I asked, where is dad? She said, oh, your dad is busy riding the bicycle everywhere, every day, looking for you. He was riding the bicycle and asking, have you seen my daughter? Have you seen my daughter? Have you seen my daughter? Everywhere. And here I am. I came home with a skin and bone, barely can walk. My mom told me she said, I didn't recognize you. I only recognize your forehead. So she started to pamper me with her wonderful food. My dad planted some garden and they got all fruit and everything organically. And they pamper me with a lot of good food. So it took me more than a year to get myself back to my old self again. So,
Wow. Sara, I'm curious. You went through horrific circumstances and you were able to make it. And I'm going to ask you about your mindset during these times. And then I'd like to know also, actually, let's start with your mindset. And you mentioned it a little bit. You were determined that you're going to live and you're going to come back home. And you used prayer. Can you think of what else kept you going in such horrible circumstances?
Yes. My mind said, I didn't believe that this situation will last forever.
Mm.
I didn't believe it. I said, the way they are operating, the way they mistreat us, they are not going to last. So that's my own belief. I said, they are not going to last. So I will keep myself moving, fighting for my life. And one of these days, I will see my family. So my imagination, my envision that one of these days I will be back with my family. So there's hope. So I always have hope. For some reason, I'm an optimist, I think. It paid to be optimist.
Especially in those circumstances.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And when I got so sick, I got help from my friend. The friend that was in the same camp, they was helping each other because I was kind to them and they was kind to me. So we have to be, in order for us to survive, we have to be kind to one another and support one another. So
And did your parents go through anything similar to what you went through?
yes, yeah, they were evacuated from their own city, but they are moving as a family, so they stay together as a family. But my younger brother, who is only 3 years younger than me, they took him and give him a hard job just like me. They went to the youth camp and he suffered the same like me. And my younger one, the third after me, he's he was about 10 years old. They put him to work also far away from my family. My baby brother was like 7 years old or so. He stayed with my mom, with my parents. And my mom have another stroke, have a stroke during all this time. Well, she had a stroke before everything happened. I skipped one step. I didn't tell my story about how my mom was paralyzed. When I was 13, she had an accident and she became paralyzed. From her neck down, she lay flat on her bed and can't move, can't move. She cannot feed herself. She cannot wash her face. She cannot do anything, just lay flat. Her arm and her legs are paralyzed. So I was the full-time caregiver, and I also attend high school. So I keep up with school and took care of my mom with all my heart. I want her to get well. I love her so much, and I will do anything to get my mom well again. So our relationship grew during that time. So when I went through the hardest time in the camp, I remember my relationship with my mom. That's what kept me going. I want to go back to that relationship, how we love each other. So sometimes the hardest time that you never thought it's useful for your life, for me, it was useful. My mom's paralysis create a bond between me and her that is it's life-saving for me. Uh, I believe that.
After you came back to your parents and you recovered, how did you end up moving from Cambodia to the States? Because was it still a communist country at that point for you?
Yeah, it was still a communist country, and there was there was a lot of Vietnamese came into our country, and they are the one who helped chase out the Cambodian communists. So, I want to pause 1 minute to tell about what happened to
Yes.
those communists. The Vietnamese was told, well, some of us in the country, when they saw us dying so much, left and right, millions of people die, somebody sneak out to Vietnam and ask for help. So the Vietnamese soldier came in. That's how they chased my camp, the people that control my camp. They moved to the jungle
Mm,
because they know that somebody is coming after them. So they move us to the jungle. But the rest of the country was liberated 4 months before I escaped.
mm.
4 months. That's why when we got out from the jungle, we saw people walk so freely because they had been liberated. But we didn't know. But God kept us for 4 months for a reason. If we have a lot of time, I can tell you the reason that I believe. But
Actually, I would love to know that reason. What do you believe that reason was?
for the people that got liberated 4 months ago, many of them traveled to the border of Thailand. They cross the border, get out from Cambodia. When they get to Thailand, the Thai soldier put them back in the big truck and big bus and throw them and dump them in the mountain that are filled with landmines.
Mm.
They point the gun at the Cambodian. Go back to your country. Go back to your country, and they shoot if you don't go. And those people cross the border, blow the mine, kill themselves. Thousands and thousands of people get killed. So I believe the reason I was 4 months behind was that I didn't have a chance to go as a first group to go across the border. That's my belief. You can believe me or not, but
That's a good belief, actually. That's a great belief. You know, there's so many questions, but I'd like to know how you ended up moving from Cambodia to the States and that process. And then I have so many more questions for you.
yes. When there are a lot of Vietnamese soldiers in our country, in our city, we are scared. A lot of us are scared because they have gun and our people don't have anything to protect themselves. So they can abuse us, they can shoot at us, and whatever they can do to us. So we get scared. And my mom had this idea that she had her cousin that is heading to the border, and my mom wanted me to go with him. I'm the oldest one, and I'm not married. My younger brother just got married, so he had to stay with his wife and take care of his sick father-in-law and all that. So I'm the only one available to go. So my mom convinced me to go. And I said, Mom, for 4 years, I was dreaming about this time to come back and live with you. I'm not going. So I cry and cry, and then this word convinced me to go. She said, honey, if you make it out there, go find my other cousin. He had been in United States a long time. He will help you. And Later on, who knows? You can come back and help our family. So with that, I took her advice to sneak out, to escape. This is the second escape.
Wait, so at
So
this point, the country actually help me understand. You need to escape because it's still communist at this point?
it's still communist. I
Mm,
escaped because it's not legal to go into to Thailand. I
mm,
have there is nothing as embassy. There's no embassy. There is no passport or any kind. If
mhm.
you want to get out from the country, you have to escape. So that's why I use the word escape because
Gotcha. Okay. Makes sense. And how old are you at this point?
I was 25, 26.
Okay.
That's
Okay,
it.
go ahead.
Yeah, that's a good question. So, yeah. So when I got to the border, we had to pay somebody to lead us to go crossing the border. It's very dangerous. Those people that we pay, sometimes they are honest and sometimes they kill you.
Mhm.
Sometimes they rob you. And uh, so we never know, but we risk our life. But in my case, I was safe. They didn't kill me. That's why I'm here. Yeah. So I got to the other side of the border and we found the refugee camp that was set up by United Nations.
Mm,
You see, after the first wave of Cambodian that came, that was shuffled back and got killed on the landmine. After that, some news got into the United Nations. So they start to build the camp to receive the refugee. So I benefit from that. Why God stopped me, hold me back for a while. That's how I believe. I think God favor me.
And what was it like for you being at the refugee camp?
I was happy that I found the camp. And when I got there, I know a few people that been there before me. They're just a little bit ahead of me. Because remember, I stayed with my mom for more than a year to
Mhm.
recover myself. So there are many people get to the camp long before me. So when I found some people that I know, I feel much comfortable. And then I was able to find my relative in the United States, the only relative that I have, and he is my mom's cousin, and he did the paperwork to sponsor me to come. Mm.
What do you think of the effort of the people that had the refugee camp so that people can be saved? What do you think of their effort?
The people that had they
Yes,
built they built
yes,
the
from the
camp.
UN.
Oh, I think it's a humanitarian effort. It's wonderful to help us to keep us safe. Otherwise, the who know the Thai people will kill all of us because they don't want trouble. So when they saw us flooding to Thailand, they thought it's trouble. They think that we might bring the war into their country. But the UN step in, so they provide some safety for us.
And
Yeah.
what was it like as you actually moved from there to the United States? Because that's a big transition.
Yeah. I was in that camp for more than a year,
Mm.
waiting for the paper to be processed and everything. Um, I moved to another camp nearby. Um, I was very a little bit anxious. I want to move it faster, but I cannot do anything because I'm waiting for the process to go through. So I was patient.
And then when you arrived in the States, what was that like for you?
Oh, I was so sick. I had air sickness. I threw up. I was so sick all the time throughout the trip. The trip was about 22 hours on the plane with very long flight, and I threw up all the time. So I was exhausted. I thought I'm going to die. Uh, and then when I got to the United States, I found out that my uncle that sponsored me, he's not there. He had to move to another state. The job, according to the job, he got transferred. So he was not there. But before he moved, he talked to the church, and the church, the woman ministry stepped up and was helping me. So when I got to the airport, somebody lift the sign and put my name and waiting for me. So when I saw my name, so I go there. We didn't know each other. So she took me to her house. Her husband is the doctor. He had the office in the house. And he asked me, how long did it take? I said, 3 days and 3 nights.
At least that's what it felt like to you, huh?
That's how it so
So were they basically your guides as you got to the States?
yeah, they are very helpful. They show so much kindness and compassion. It's not only one couple, it's several couple. They are part of the church that my uncle used to be a member of.
Mm-hmm.
So they helped me. They found an apartment. They paid the first rent for me. They furnished the apartment. I got everything I need, pots and pans and beds and everything that I need. And then I start looking for a job, and so later on I can pay for the apartment. And then I got a job, and then I was able to pass the GED exam and register for college. So that's my dream. I want to get education so I can get a better job. Yeah, life was very challenging, but it's better than the refugee camp. It's better than the communist Khmer Rouge regime. Yeah.
So let's jump forward to you moving from Cambodia to the States, getting your education, and now you've gone on to speak, train the youth, write a book, and do things that have definitely moved you forward. How did you keep yourself in the kindness that you're in through all of it?
Thank you for that question. Well, we had to, I believe that we need to be kind to one another. There's no need to create more enemy. The the disaster that happened in Cambodia, it's because they didn't treat us kindly. So I want to make sure that I do the opposite from those guys. I want to show my kindness. I want to help people. Um, Anything that I can do to help, I do it because we need to love each other. We need to support one another. I have been supported. Even in the camp, my friends supported me. When I got to the United States, all those ladies from the church supported me without knowing who I was. I am so amazed. They treat me so kind and compassionate. So I pay back. Whatever I do, I pay back what I receive because I'm just so amazed how people show their love, their kindness, their compassion to me when I arrived to the United States. So
What are some of the ways that you really enjoy giving back?
some of the way that I enjoy giving back, I do a lot of volunteer work. I I got involved in the nonprofit organization, being on the board, being the volunteer, whatever I can do, I help. And also, like when I become a speaker, I speak. There are a lot of organizations that cannot afford to pay me. They need the inspiration, so I speak for them. So I'm not only speak for fee, I speak for no fee as well, for the right organization. Um, but believe me, I need some money too. So I cannot do free thing all the time. I need to pay my bill. So yeah, I'm also appreciate the people that have the budget to pay me to speak. So those are the things that I love. I love to share my story because I believe that my survival is based on my resiliency and my positive thinking and my attitude and my love. So all these are positive things. And I want to share this with people that whenever they go through a big problem in their life, they need to adopt all of that. It's not one thing. No, they have to have all of that. The resiliency, you have to keep building all the time because when you go through something bad in your life, it depletes your resiliency. You get a big accident, your resiliency got depleted and you have to rebuild it, keep rebuilding. So we have to keep rebuilding our resiliency all the time. So that's why I love to share with people that our life is not just waiting for the good thing. We have to be building. We build to protect ourselves in the future because we never know what come our way. So once we are resilient, you are not afraid. Whatever coming, you can solve it. You can handle it. So I can handle. So that's the attitude I want to teach people. I can handle anything come my way. And then another attitude is this: the bad thing, the hardship that I went through, it helped me build my confidence for the future.
When you're in front of corporations and you're speaking to a generation that hasn't gone through war and hasn't gone through some of the hardships that you've endured, how do you relay that to them? That the resilience that you would love them to understand is much more than the things that we go through on a daily basis. How do you relay that to them?
Well, it's a very good question. How to relate to them is that our life, when we live our life, we cannot expect to be safe all the time. We expect to have problems. Life is full of problems, whether small or big. And how do we handle those problems? It depends on our confidence, our capability, and our resiliency. That's why we need to build that resiliency. You don't have to go through the killing field to need the resiliency. Your own resiliency, your own killing field is here every day. People lose their job, lose their spouse, lose their their loved one through disease, through accident. It's all kind of tragedy that happen in life. So those are the tragedy that we want to work to build ourselves up so that when the tragedy hit, you are strong enough to handle it.
How much do you think humanity is important?
Humanity is so important. Without humanity, we have war. That's why a war happened because they forgot about the humanity. They use the gun, they use the weapon to fight each other, but they forgot that the side effect of that war killed people. That's the humanity side that they did not think about. So,
As I'm speaking with you, Sarah, and listening to what you're saying, simply going back in my own history to the period of war in Lebanon, and I can feel my jaw tensing up because to portray that to someone that your life is in danger, the people that you love are in danger, and it's another human being that's doing that. That's really the most challenging thing I can explain to someone. It's like it's up to us to make that difference. And
yeah.
I see in your story and in your training and in your speaking that beautiful piece of allowing individuals to understand that it really does take all of us to make a difference.
Mhm.
And would you even be anywhere close to where you were if you didn't have a hand up from individuals that cared without even knowing you?
No, I have a hard time imagining myself rebuilding my life without the help of those kind people. So they are so kind and loving and compassionate. And that's why it's so important to show that, to do that to other human beings. And without that, we are in the war with each other. That's what we don't want. So,
And if I could wave a magic wand and put you to speak in front of whatever organization or group of people, who would you choose to speak to?
mm, I would like to speak to the people that are going through so much stress in their life, so much challenge. Well, the stressful situation happen in a corporation, happen in the business community, entrepreneurship, and the people that build the business, they are going through a lot of challenging. Their life is full of challenge. So those are the people that can use the inspiration from my story. Thank you
And
for that question.
and you spoke about resilient. What is it that you'd really like to say to them so that they understand the heart that you're coming with?
I like to speak about resilience. The where I'm coming from is coming from the love, the positivity, the the optimism. Uh, so when you for resilient people, they are optimistic, they are positive, they are confident, and that's what I like to see people. And they are loving. They love people. They support, they care about people. So when you act and behave in the positive way, that's how you initiate a resiliency and you build up resiliency. When you yourself adopt that same positivity and optimism and upbeat. That's how you build up your resiliency.
Sarah, I'm curious because a lot of people that go through a very challenging time in their life, or many challenging times in their life, yours was definitely beyond challenging. Let's put it that way. How do you maintain your mental health so that you don't go into the negative? Because it's very easy for a lot of people to stay in those areas
Mhm.
versus turning to the light. How do you work on that? Or do you even work on that?
Well, I had to protect myself from slipping back into the negativity, from slipping into the victim mindset. I'm now I don't want to treat myself as the victim, although the circumstance was very challenging, but I was not a victim. I overcame it. Yes, I was put into that situation, but I fight and I overcome and come out on the other side. So in that way, I feel that, God was on my side. He was good to me, and he favored my life, and he put a pause on my journey so that I don't get into the dangerous trap. So uh yeah, I had I usually look at some positive thing that happened in my life. Even though I gone through very difficult time, but there's a lot of positive that come out from it. No, I still alive, and I still have friends. I still have people in the camp that support me during the time of need. And I still have my family that I dream about all the time. I love them. And all those are the positive things that I can think about. I don't think of all the loss. No, the
Mm.
loss is gone. You cannot do anything about it. You think about what you have, appreciate what you have, you have to be grateful for it.
I love that. Before we go further, how do people reach you? I have more questions for you, but let's figure out how do people reach you so they can connect with you.
They can, the best place to reach me is my website, saraim.com. Just my first name and last name, SARAIM.com. And I'm also quite active on LinkedIn. My LinkedIn is the same, just search for my name, it will come up. So those are the two best places to reach me.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. What prompted you to do the book?
Mm. I never dreamed that I would write the book. I never thought that my story would do any good to anybody. Just
Mm.
bury it. A lot of Cambodians didn't want to talk about it. Who want to talk about a problem like that? But I thought that my story might help people. At one point, one of my friends, she know a little bit about my story. She asked me to speak before my book ever happened. She asked me to speak, to share what happened to me. So I share my story. One lady, I found out why she was crying when she heard my story. Well, she had a child who died through suicide. And it shocked me because I wouldn't believe my ear that how could people live in this beautiful country could still commit suicide. I just didn't believe that it happened, but I heard more and more. So I thought, well, maybe my story can help. And sure, after I wrote my book, I I spoke at one of the Rotary Club, and one young lady came with her boss. Her boss is my friend. With her boss, and listened to me, and she read my book. And then when I saw her about 3 months later a gathering occasion, and she told me, she said, Sarah, I never forgot you. I said, what happened? And she said, oh, since I listened to your story, read your book, my life has been changed. I said, tell me more. She said, I used to be suicidal all my life. She was, looked like in her late 20s. She said, but you changed me. I no longer want to kill myself. So if nothing else good about my book, that one is good enough.
Do you now see why, even though your story is completely different and your suffering and your struggles were completely different, that it actually makes an impact on someone that is in different circumstances? Do you see that connection now?
Yes, yes, yeah. The situation is different, the circumstance is different, but suffering is suffering. So I feel like my story can help relieve some suffering, can help change the mindset of people that never thought it's possible.
Sarah, I know you and I have spoken a little more deeper off off this podcast, but I'd like people to understand how much you care when you show up and speak or when you show up and train. I'd like them to feel the impact of what I got to see when we spoke. Why is that such a big drive for you? Why do you care that someone else does better? Why do you care that a corporation does better? Why do you care that an individual does better?
Thank you for that question. All about my message. I share, I talk about different topics at different occasions, but my main message is this. I want to promote more love and kindness. I want to help people to love one another. So if we live in love, we don't have a war. If we love one another enough, we will talk, we find out what is the issues. We will discuss, we will eliminate all kind of discord. So live in love, that's my driving force behind my message. And I don't want to see another country go into war again. War is horrible. We don't want to go through the war.
Thank you for that. I really appreciate you sharing it. What is your family? How is your family right now?
My family, all my brothers, they are all doing very well. They are all in United States
Mm.
and they have their own family. They are doing very well financially. And except my dad is in Cambodia. He's in his mid-90s and his health is not that great right now. So pretty soon I need to fly to Cambodia to visit him before it's too late. So I will be back in Cambodia within the next couple months.
What's it like for you when you show up in Cambodia?
I I care so much about all my relatives. I have a lot of cousins, aunts, and cousin and nephew, niece. So those are people that I care about. And the country is doing better than 50 years ago that, when we went through the war. So at least it's making progress, and the people are doing better. But they still struggle. A lot of people still struggle. The older people in my age that remember that bad time, they are not doing too well.
Mm.
They mentally they are not doing good. But I feel like people are more resilient than I expected. They are very resilient. They raise their family, and the next generation they are doing better.
Is there anything that you'd like to say that I haven't asked you so we don't get off this podcast and go, "Oh, Rima didn't ask me this"?
Mm, yeah, I um I don't know. You are very good interviewer. You ask good question, but I just want to leave people with this: live with hope and inspiration, and love one another. That God want us to do. God created us so we can love each other. Don't kill each other. No more war. And I don't want to see any other country to go through the war as Cambodia had been through. It's it's very heartbreaking. So love one another, then there will be no war.
Sara, I really, really appreciate you and love you. And thank you for being as authentic as possible in sharing a lot of the message. And to our wonderful listeners and viewers, please remember that our attitude always determines our altitude in life.
Mhm.
And we'll see you in the next podcast. Thank you, Sara.
Welcome.